Hey everyone, welcome to another video on my channel, and today in this video I am going to tell you about a big loss which I had recently during the election day. So the thing is, recently during the election I lost close to around 17% of my capital, and I am going to explain the entire series of events, how it happened. So this was not because of any option trade. So in option trade the premiums were very juicy and we could easily make a percent, but the issue came with the future trades, right? So you might be already knowing that from the past 1 year I have been trading futures actively, and last year I made really good money with futures. But this time, unfortunately, so things went wrong in multiple places. It was not just one mistake which I did multiple mistakes, because of which I had to pay the price. So I have lost close to around 35 lakh in the last 3 months. So this constitutes to almost around 15 to 17% of my capital, overall capital. And the major loss in this came during the election time because of the sudden fall, right? So the thing is, I had taken some really good trades. So if you actually take a look at the trades, so definitely it will make us regret. So I'm going to take you through the journey of the last 3 months and share each and every trade, and I'm also going to share where I went wrong, right? So I hope this is going to be a very good learning video. Make sure that you hit the like button, share this video, and also share it with all of your friends, because whether you make the mistake or whether I make the mistake, it doesn't matter. End of the day, what we get to learn from this is what matters, right? So that's the reason. So this is more of a learning video. You try to make sure that you learn as much as possible from my mistake. So now I'm also going to show you along with that what exactly I'm holding currently and why I am holding that, right? So let's quickly move on to the screen recording, before which again you can support us in multiple ways if you are liking the content on this channel. One, you can simply hit the like button and subscribe button. If you haven't done that, please make sure that you do that. So we are coming out with really exciting platforms, and all of this will be compatible with First Stock very well. So make sure that you check that out and open your First Stock account today. With this, let's quickly move on to the screen recording and try to see how my future trades went. Hey guys, welcome to the screen recording, and right over here, as you can see, I have opened my account SR1598, and what I'm going to do is go to the back office. Here let's go to the reports and go to the P&L report, and I'm going to start from this particular quarter, right? So let me click on submit under F&O. So you can see that the overall loss is close to around 40 lakh. So this is a total number of 40 lakh. So another 3.5 lakh, and we have another 1.7 lakh today. So basically a total loss of 35 lakh in the last quarter. And all this, the entire future trade started with Trent. So I will tell you, share one by one, how I actually made mistakes in the entry and exit, for which I'm going to start with opening trading view. So right over here, as you can see, I have opened the chart of Trent, and currently Trent is trading around 4,900 rupees, right? So the thing is, I entered the trade when Trent almost came to around 4,200. So I was waiting for this breakout. The reason was we had seen a strong up move. After that, the stock consolidated for almost 2.5 months and finally gave the breakout. Right. So once it gave the breakout, I entered around 4,200, 4,300 with 4,100 as my stop loss. So I was just waiting for this level and I entered this with a stop loss. So then what happened? Unfortunately, on the earnings day, it came, hit my stop loss and went up, right? So here the quantity was very high and I had to stick to my stop loss, right? So there was no room for error. I took my stop loss, and with the Trend trade, I lost close to around 5 lakh, right? So this was all done. So the entire trade was done and I had a huge loss, right? So then what happened is, after that I shifted to Polycab. So now coming to Polycab, so I entered this trade when it was close to around 5,500, 5,600 level. So I don't exactly remember, but somewhere around this level. So then what happened is, as and when the stock started to go up and we broke the again all-time high around 5,700, I started adding quantities aggressively, right? So I started adding more and more futures right over here, and unfortunately you can see the earnings was on 10th of May and I took my exit 9th of May. I was riding this stock almost from close to around 10 days or 10 or 14 days, almost around 2 weeks. So I kept on riding the stock, and finally right before the result time I took the exit in the stock. And the reason was quite simple. First of all, during the same time, if you see, Nifty was crashing down because of the Iran and Israel fight, I suppose. So there was a news that Iran has bombed Israel, right? So Nifty was falling quite a lot, and again the next day result was there. So I was quite scared because the sentiments around was not so good, right? So unfortunately I had averaged around 5,900, 5,950 and so on, right? So my average price had come up. Even though my initial entry was at 5,500, now my average was around 5,800, right? So then what happened is, so after holding for quite some time, exactly before the result day, I took the exit, and after that you can see what exactly happened to the stock. It went up again close to around 20%. So even here, so even though my stop loss was not breached, so my quantity was high and I got scared looking at the events around and I took the exit, right? So you can see two mistakes being done here. So in Trent, I could have actually waited if my quantity was low. Here, I could have actually waited for the stock to actually touch my stop loss and not exit before. In Trent, it hit my stop loss, but since the quantity was high, I couldn't wait till the day close. So what if it fell further? I would have lost much more money. And then you can see it was a one-way up rally. So even here, I lost close to around 2 to 3 lakh, right? So again, after series of continuous bad trades, I had a loss of around 11 to 12 lakh in futures. So then came my one of the worst losses, right? So that was in Tata Motors, right? So all this was fine. So here, right over here, you can see I have still marked it. Tata Motors, right before the result day, had given a fantastic breakout, and that to an all-time high breakout, right? So very strong closing. So I aggressively entered Tata Motors here, and you can see next day there was a big gap down. So unfortunately for me, so two results which went in my favor, that is of Trent and Polycab, I couldn't hold on to the stock. But one result which came against my favor, so I held on to the stock and I got hit quite badly, right? So here with Tata Motors opening itself, I lost close to around 17 to 18 lakh, and now my loss had widened to almost close to 30 lakh. So two good trades which I couldn't run. So both were up almost 20%, I couldn't hold them. But on the other hand, one bad trade where I lost close to around 10%, so I took a hit of, so I had hedged this trade, so I almost took a max loss, right? So I took a loss of close to around 15 to 17 lakh. All put together, I came to a loss of 30 lakh at this point. So multiple small losses plus big loss in Trent, big loss in Tata Motors, small loss in Polycab. All put together at this position, I was in a net loss. Then finally, again at this point, I was down almost by 12 to 15%. So I thought, okay, so the last future trade which I'm going to take, so that was in Bharat Electronics. And here again I took after the all-time high breakout right over here. And this I got a fantastic entry, and with this single trade I was able to recover all my losses. So you can see right over here in BEL, so it opened and had closed at an all-time high. So I took the entry here and I exited on the result day, and I got a fantastic entry and fantastic exit. All my 30 lakh loss got recovered, right? So now I was almost at a break-even level, so no profit, no loss, and this was maybe 2 or 3 weeks before election, right? So everything was going good, and my confidence also was back, because so there were really good trades which I couldn't hold on. So one bad trade overnight itself, there was a gap down, I couldn't do anything about it, right? So then finally I got a really good trade with which I could recover everything. So if I had stopped here, maybe things would be different, but unfortunately, so I continued to trade. So I wouldn't call it unfortunate, but I had to be careful right over here, right? Once after recovering, so there were two trades which I entered. One is in Hindustan Copper and Coal India. So I'll share both the trades and I will tell you what exactly happened. So again, it was the same case, right? So when I open Hindustan Copper, so you can see this was the breakout in which I entered. So it had given a breakout. So next day it actually opened higher, and I got my entry somewhere around 410. So again I had taken future positions here in Hindustan Copper. So the thing is, Here I was thinking, okay, I won't make the same mistake what I did in Trent, right? So let me try holding on to the position, and in case, let me wait till day end. So let me not exit quickly, and you can see what exactly happened during the day. So I got my entry almost at the highest point, but unfortunately I had to take my exit almost at the lowest point. So this stock was almost down 6-7% on the same day, and again I ended up losing around 12 lakh from this single trade, 12 to 13 lakh. But unfortunately, my biggest hit came from Coal India and BHEL. So it was series of 3 PSU stocks which went really bad for me. So this had given a fresh all-time high breakout, gone up. I took my entry, again had to book a loss of 5 to 7 lakh. But now comes the main stock, which is BHEL, right? So BHEL gave a fantastic breakout on the weekly chart. So you can see on the daily chart itself, right? So this is such a good entry to actually make. So a clean all-time high breakout, PSUs were in momentum, but you can see what exactly happened right after that. It was the result day, result was below expectation, and it came down by almost around 7%. So again, I had closed everything at this point, and as you all know, post the exit poll, I finally took an entry in one more stock, and this was the biggest mistake which I did, because if not for the exit poll, right, so I would have actually waited for the election result. So I was quite hopeful on the exit poll. So after the exit poll, the stock started to go up, and I took my entry in TVS Motors, right? So today the stock is looking really good, but unfortunately, let me just come to the day, right? So right over here, so yeah, so you can see where exactly I had taken the entry, right? So right over here, the stock had actually consolidated for quite some time, right? So it went up, again came down, again consolidated and gave a breakout. So here the best part is it actually went up, came down, took the support and again came up. So I thought, okay, this was a really good level to actually keep a stop loss. The risk to reward was very favorable. So I was expecting an all-time high to be taken out. So my stop loss was hardly around 50 points, right? So hardly around 50 points and really good setup on the chart. So I was expecting this breakout to come, but it was the election result and I couldn't hold the stock. So there was a severe down move and I had to forcefully take the exit in the stock, and again I booked a loss of around 7 to 8 lakh. So overall, all these put together, my losses started to pile up, and finally I took a loss of close to around 40 lakh, which was a realized loss, right? So the thing is, right over here, so you can say that, okay, when was I planning to stop? So am I not over trading right over here? It is 15% today because I was able to almost 4x my entire capital trading futures last year, right? So I started with hardly around 50 lakh, and today I was able to take it to around 2.5 CR just by trading futures and E. So that's the reason I took the additional risk. And the reason why I'm sharing you with this today is, if this trade, the trade which I have today doesn't go well, I'm going to stop trading futures and only focus on options, because options is doing decently well, but I have gotten hit with futures quite a lot in this last 3 months, right? So, but I have quite good conviction about the current trade which I have taken. So currently I have taken 2 trades. I'm going to share what exactly is the rationale behind taking these trades, right? So I have also kept the position size quite low. So you can see overall the notional value of this entire trade is almost around 2 CR, right? So I have used lesser than 20 lakh capital for this, or 30 lakh capital for this, and the notional value is almost around 2 CR, which is as much as my capital, right? So now I will show you the charts of both of this, Ashok Leyland and Persistent Systems. So for me to recover this entire loss, right, of 35 lakh, so I want the entire thing to go up by almost around 10 to 15%. So if we go up by 15%, we would be recovering close to around 30 lakh. So this time I have not over leveraged like I did previously, because previously I had taken exposure for almost around 5 CR and even sometimes up to 7 CR. So that mistake hasn't been done now. So even for me to lose, let's say around 10 lakh, so the stocks have to really go against me, right? So currently the market is looking strong. These stocks are looking strong. So one is Ashok Leyland. So currently I actually exited my trade in Bajaj Auto. I had realized a gain of almost around a lakh, and I shifted from Bajaj Auto to Persistent Systems today morning. So let me share you the reason for the same. So one very simple with respect to Ashok Leyland. So the stock on a weekly chart, right? So let me just clear all the drawing. So the stock right over here on a weekly chart or a monthly chart has given a really good breakout. So you can see after consolidating for quite some time, the stock gave a breakout, and even here it consolidated for almost around 7-8 months and then gave a breakout. So the stock had already gone to around 220, 230, but I managed to get my entry back around 220 levels, to 218, 220 levels, so which I believe is a really good entry to make. So I took the entry somewhere around 220, right? So you can see on the daily chart, so I took the entry somewhere over here on the second day when the stock started to recover, because Ashok Leyland was looking quite strong. So compared to all other stock, so it was already at an all-time high. It was looking quite strong. So this was one entry what I made, and the second entry was in Bajaj Auto. Again, it was a clear case of all-time high breakout. So I had taken the entry in the stock, but currently I have come out of it because of the entry in Persistent Systems, right? So this stock I thought was actually really good because of couple of reasons. One, you can see that so it has clearly come out of the trend, right? So if you mark this as a trend, right, so it has clearly come out of the trend, the entire downward channel which it was going through, so it is out of it, and it has also given a pretty good breakout on the upside. So considering both of this, so I thought, okay, this is a really good entry, because currently Nasdaq is also at an all-time high, Nifty is breaking all-time high, so IT has underperformed as an entire sector. So banking has done well, so for example pharma has done well, and even for example auto has done well, PSU has done well, everything has done well. So IT as a sector has struggled. So my opinion here was it was easier to make 10% in Persistent compared to Bajaj Auto, or easier to make 10% in a IT stock compared to Bajaj Auto, which was supposed to go to 10,700. So even Bajaj Auto can end up doing well, but I have more conviction on Persistent doing, or IT stocks doing much better, or easier to recover 10% compared to Bajaj Auto moving up by 10%. So the thing here is my stop loss for Persistent would be exactly around 100 points. So currently it is at 3854 and my stop loss would be 3750. So around 3% risk what I have in Persistent. This 3% risk would directly translate into 3% of the notional value, which is close to around 1.8 to 1.9 lakh, right? So apart from that, my stop loss in Ashok Leyland, right, would be simply below 218. So this is where I have got my entry, right? So around this price is where I have entered. I added some more quantities today, so you can see my actual price has come to 221, but my initial entry was around 218, right? So we are already up by almost close to around 10 points. So first, even if we are now going to come down and fall below this, I am not going to exit it with a loss, or maybe with a very small loss, 1 or 2 lakh. So these are my current trades, and this is the reason why I am holding these positions. So if you ask me my opinion with respect to where I am expecting the stocks to go, or what are my targets, right? So with Ashok Leyland, so I am expecting a target anywhere around 250 to 260, so maybe another 10 more percent, so a little less than 10%, right? So that is my target with Ashok Leyland. So I'm expecting maybe in the course of next 1.5 to 3 months. So maybe within next 3 months, this target should be achieved, given that Nifty is actually holding strong, right? So my opinion with Persistent is, so I am not very sure whether this stock is going to move the way I want, right? So I am still quite doubtful, but in case I don't mind holding it little longer term, but in case if things go well, I am actually expecting it to come and retest 4,400, which is almost 20% higher from here, right? So this is my target for persistent, and in case if things go well, who knows, it can also break all-time high, and in case if it is breaking all-time high, my target would further extend, right? So my entry in persistent is around 3850, which I took it today. So my stop loss is 100 points from here, and if I get a chance to re-enter, so I will try to see where I can take an entry and re-enter the trade and build on the positions if it is going in my direction. So Nasdaq currently is at an all-time high, so Indian IT stocks also mostly should start recovering. Hopefully they do quite quickly, so let's hope for the best, and that is for the entire trade as of now. So you can see the overall unrealized P&L is almost around 5 lakh, so that means net loss is almost close to around 35 lakh as of today. So let's wish for the best, and let's see how things are going to go. And with this, we also come to the end of today's video. So one thing what you can see here is I have also discussed my exit plan, and once this hits, I'm going to close down all the positions, and if that happens, I'm definitely going to make a video and share with you. Either ways, if that doesn't happen, end of the month I'm going to make one more video to review my positions in case if I have made any changes, in case if I have found any better opportunity to enter the future trade. So for example, let's say I get a fresh breakout in some other stock which I feel is much stronger, so I might close one of these and enter that, right? So that is the overall idea as of now. Let's see how things go, and with this we also come to the end of this video. So if you have found this video informative, make sure you hit the like button, share this video, and also subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, this video was made for learning purpose, so that you don't make the same mistakes what I have done. So broadly, to categorize the mistakes, right? So one was building heavy positions expecting an up move. Two is actually not a mistake, I would say. The second point, it was mostly situational thing. So one, with respect to Trent, after the result came, it fell, so you were not really sure whether it is a good idea to hold or not. So for example, if you look at Trent, on the result day it fell. So result came towards the end, but on the result day it fell, and I was not really sure whether to hold or not, right? So my stop loss has breached and I was already in a loss. And again, coming to Polycab, the major issue with Polycab was the overall things around with respect to Nifty. There were a lot of global tensions. So even though the stock was looking strong, I couldn't hold, right? So then unfortunately, there were 3 bad trades in Tata Motors, Hindustan Copper, then also with respect to BHEL and Coal India. Then finally BEL was one really good entry, and currently we have 2 entries running, and even TVS was a quite unfortunate thing because of the election result. So let's see, let's try to hold these 2 positions, and I'm going to give you regular updates on what I'm doing with the positions. So thank you so much for joining, guys, and see you soon in the next video.